the single season Super Slam for Rory McIlroy
Wow.
is not completely off the table. He's already won the Players. He's already won the Masters. Next month's PGA Championship is at Quail Hollow, where I believe he's won 4 times.
Holds the course record.
Holds the course record. The U.S. Open at Oakmont, a driver's paradise. Rory McIlroy, one of the best drivers of the golf ball on the planet. Also, his U.S. Open record is better than I think a lot of people give him credit for. 6 consecutive top 10s in golf's toughest major. And then, the Open Championship is a home game at Royal Portrush. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm also not saying it ain't going to happen. You buying it?
No, and the reason goes back to what I talked about on Wednesday because of the emotion. And you make a really good point. I hadn't even skipped that far ahead, but Charlotte is a perfect setup for him. He's won there so many times. He had so much success on that golf course. And you're right. I think the U.S. Open is always going to be a good fit for his style of game. And we never know what to expect at Portrush. I think in its debut, when Shane Lowry won, everyone was impressed. Everyone knew immediately that this course was going to go into their open rotation for all the right reasons. But you also have to remember, if I remember correctly, Rory hit it out of bounds on the very first tee shot.
Internal OB.
I didn't even realize there was internal OB over there until we actually got to where the ball was. And I think his reaction, I believe it was on Friday after his round, the emotion. I would argue that maybe after what we saw today here at Augusta National, that's the most emotional I've ever seen Rory McIlroy at a golf tournament. And Whistling Straits, the Ryder Cup, certainly would rank in there as well because he does have a tendency to wear his emotion on his sleeves. I think that one would be very difficult for him for those reasons again. He knows what it would mean to Northern Ireland for him to come back.
But that's 3 months and 2 other majors.
But you're combining it all together. You can't ignore the obvious at that point. Like
he's got to still get there first. And I'm saying it's not unrealistic to think that he could win next month at Quail Hollow. And then all of a sudden the conversation becomes very interesting.
And look, we're going to revisit this, I'm sure, if he does win at Quail Hollow. And I could see him winning the U.S. Open as well. And then imagine everything that's piled on top of that. Not only are you going back to Northern Ireland, not only are you going to Portrush, but you have a chance of doing something that's never been done in the modern era. Like, forget about joining the Career Grand Slam Club, which we have talked endlessly about how of a huge monumental accomplishment that is. I can't imagine the pressure that would create. And I think once you take a deep dive tonight, and I'm sure you're going to do a very, very good job of how heavy this has been on his shoulders. And he didn't hide it after the fact. Brad Faxon did a really good job of sort of breaking down to us that, yeah, we've all been in the middle of this. We all know exactly what this means. Now, times 10 going to Portrush, man, that would be tough.
I know, but I think something has been unlocked in Rory McIlroy. I mean, checking this box, which has been unchecked for more than a decade at this point, has to free him up moving forward. And if he can survive this, if he can endure the months of hype and expectation, if he can lead heading into the final round, I know he did not play his best on Sunday, but if he can still accomplish what has been a lifelong dream, I mean, I don't think there's anything that is off the table for Rory McIlroy. And who knows? This could have happened last year. Scottie Scheffler won the Players. He won the Masters. Who knows? He could have won the PGA Championship if he didn't have a significant life event, and then he runs into Officer Brian Gillis in Louisville. Like, this certainly could have happened a year ago. Again, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but the way Roy's playing, the freedom that he is now experiencing, having the major list drought over, I don't know. I think I'm very excited for Charlotte and Quail Hollow in the PGA Championship.
I'm with you. Not out of the realm of possibility. I'm just stating the obvious here. Like, it would be such a difficult mountain for him to climb because of all of the things that I just pointed out. This just isn't some other Open. Certainly, if it was at St. Andrews, that would come with a layer of complexity as well. But this is a home game.